3, 2, 1, 0.
Folks, it's Monday, it's 7 o'clock, which means it's time again for Monday Night Nerd. Thank you all for tuning in, LIVE Live, and if you're watching this later on, I hope you're doing well. My name is Corp Cosplay. This is my podcast, Monday Night Nerd, where we talk about nerdy things. We talk about comics, cosplay, movies, music, wrestling, video games, and a whole lot more. And tonight we are going through the top 10 N64 titles because I'm a millennial and this was my first real video game system. I had some before, but this was the one that truly grabbed my video game heartstrings, and we're going to rank them 10 to 1. What's the best? What's on your list? I hope you guys are having a great day, and I hope you folks on TikTok are there, and I hope you're enjoying your time too. If you want to be a part of the show, because it's LIVE Live right now, hop over to YouTube, Corp Cosplay, and you could join the chat, and we could talk more about N64 games, but I'm going to keep it here so you can check it out if you want. It is Monday. It is the day before Canada Day up here in the Great White North. I hope you are all had a great weekend, and I hope you guys have a great holiday tomorrow for Canada Day. It is going to be a nice, relaxing day tomorrow, which is not what I originally had planned. If you follow me on social media, you know that this past weekend, I was supposed to be down south of the border. I was supposed to be in Buffalo, New York, at Nickel City Comic-Con. That was going to be the last stop before we head into Fan Expo Canada. However, I had to cancel, and it was a plethora of different things. It was not any one reason. A lot of it did have to do with the border situation. I don't want to get political. Please don't bring any politics into this. But I did have some people close to me say they did have some problems crossing the border. The dollar is absolute crap, so I knew I couldn't spend a lot of money if I was down there. I knew I'd have to spend money to get back across the border and a whole lot more. And I just went, look, as much fun as that con is, I was kind of hoping just to have a nice, relaxing weekend. So at the last minute, I don't know if it was the last minute, Thursday, I ended up pulling out and I did not attend Nickel City Comic-Con. But from what I saw, everyone had a lot of fun. It looked like there was some travel issues. I know the Atlanta airport, which is, I believe, is a hub for a lot of airports and a lot of connections going down south. They had horrible weather. They had to shut down the whole airport, which means any connecting flights had issues. Any flights that were, going to there and then going to somewhere else, they were having issues. So there was a bunch of travel problems. There's a bunch of celebrities that unfortunately had to cancel, which always sucks because if you're ever working a con like I do, you don't want to have to deal with, people showing up asking about a celebrity and kind of having to explain. Unfortunately, that guest is not here because, stuff like that happens. But it looks like everyone had a lot of fun. I saw the wrestlers were all there. Trish Stratus was there. Lita, JBL, Farouk, Ron Simmons. It looked like it was a great time, and all the photos and everybody looked like they had fun. So to all my volunteer friends who are down there, I hope you had fun. It looked like you did. I will see you all very, very soon. Next month, I always do a big party here at the house for all my volunteer friends and just friends in general, which is always sort of the backyard bash. We always do it a couple weeks before Fan Expo, and that is going to continue this year, so I can't wait to see all of you at the party. Let's jump into a little bit of newsy news before we get into the main event, as we usually do here on the podcast. Folks, if you're watching, by the way, if you can hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, that would mean a lot to me. Over the weekend, I was very happy and thankful, and very thankful to surpass 500 subscribers here on the channel, and that means so much to me. This was something that I'm up to 108 episodes, I think, and to know that there are people who take time out of their Monday nights to watch this, who subscribe to the channel, who want to see more content from me, is kind of nuts still. It's something I am very, very appreciative of. And even there are some people who may see 500 as not a lot. Man, to have 5 people here means a lot to me. Like, seriously, to have 5 people give even 2 craps about what I'm doing on a nightly basis means a lot to me. So thank you to anyone who has subscribed. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It means a lot. We have a ton of content coming out in the next little while. As you may have known, and if you are subscribed to the channel, you know that I've been scheduling YouTube shorts about different Q&As, about foam cosplaying, about volunteering, about competition cosplaying, and a whole lot more. Well, I just updated that list, and I got about another 100 that I have to shoot that I haven't even got scheduled yet. So if you have any questions about cosplaying, Comic-Cons, anything like that, I have cosplayed for the past 10 years. I've been going to cons for 15. I got a whole lot of information. You should subscribe to the channel because almost every other day I'm going to be posting a short on there talking about something to do with that. And I've already scheduled to about September. I'm going to go all the way to Christmas, if not further. So check out the channel, check out all the content. I got a whole lot more coming out, including long form stuff that you may, if you look in the background, you may notice I have been working over the past couple days because I did not go to Nickel City. I have been working on Mr. Ghost Rider 2.0, and that is not complete yet. I still have to do some work on it, but I have shot a couple videos of how to make the flames. I have basically been shooting content of how I've been making my cosplays. I'm going to do a specific line of videos about all the cosplays I've done and how I've made certain things, how I've thrifted certain things. Those are going to be coming out. And I want to tell you guys that I'm going to be doing a series of videos, not for you guys who are cosplayers, not for you kids who are interested in cosplaying, but for parents of cosplayers. I know a couple kids who are wanting to get into cosplay who their parents just don't understand what cosplay is. So I'm going to do a series of videos directed at parents to explain to them what cosplay is and how to get the kids involved and how they can get involved and how they can have a great thing together doing cosplay and going to Comic-Cons and stuff. So if you know any parents out there who just don't understand what cosplay is, but the kid really wants to get into it, I've got a series for you coming up. So subscribe to the channel. We got a whole lot of stuff coming up. Let's get into the actual news now. If you are on TikTok and you saw a video I posted a few days ago, I've jumped into a new game that I started a while back and I had to stop. And now I've worked my way past the intro, and now I'm fully committed to the game. This is a series that I am a giant fan of. I've been a fan since the first game. This is a game series that the first game in this series came out on the PS2, and it is the last time I was in grade something. I think I was just started high school. I purposely said, I don't give a crap about tomorrow. I am enjoying this game so much. I am pulling an all-nighter. And I told my mom that, and I said, I'm not going to school tomorrow. I'm staying up all night playing this game. That was God of War. And now I am jumping into God of War Ragnarok. Why am I bringing this up? Well, usually I talk about the games I'm working on and I'm enjoying. However, this one I want to talk about specifically because if you have not played God of War Ragnarok and you are an animal lover, the intro of God of War Ragnarok will rip your heart out. That was an intro that I started probably 3 months ago. Got to the intro where I'm not going to tell you what happens because I don't want to spoil the game. But something happens with an animal and I instantly turned the game off because I knew it was going to hit me in a way that wasn't going to be good. And I've been sitting there going, I need to play this, but I can't watch that scene. I got to do it. So over the weekend, actually Thursday, I purposely put the game on and I took my headset off and I just sat there on my phone and just never looked up. I got a good idea of what happens based on what characters say later in the game. But yeah, if you're a God of War fan and you have not played Ragnarok, which I know it's an older game, that intro nearly wrecked me. So just giving you a little bit of a warning. So far, I am loving the game. I think I'm about 40 minutes into it so far, and I'm doing all the side quests and stuff first, obviously. But it is so fun. I love the God of War series. I'm really intrigued of where they're going to go with this series at the end and where we're going to go possibly the next game. So loving God of War Ragnarok. I will continue to give you updates on what I think of it going forward. Do we go to the good news or the bad news? Let's do the bad news first, then we'll end on the good news. Actually, screw it. Let's just do the bad news. Ironheart. Ironheart. Ironheart is now on Disney Plus. I do not have a Disney Plus account, so I have not watched it. The Metacritic scores are not great. Metacritic was saying that the critics are scoring at 57 out of 100. Users are giving it a 2.2 out of 5. I am not surprised. I really am not surprised by those numbers. Anyone who is needs to have their head examined, because if you honestly thought that no matter what that show was going to be a good thing, no way that was going to be a positive show. This is not a show I'm going to watch. And I think that's something that a lot of Marvel fans need to understand, and a lot of fandom audiences need to understand, is that I've said it here on the podcast before, and I please understand that I mean this with the best. Not everything's for you. Not every property from every franchise is for every audience member. I know everyone wishes every Marvel franchise was for them, but it just isn't. And this is a key example of it. It's the same as Ms. Marvel. It's the same as the Groot TV show, the animated one. They're not for you. They're for a very different audience, probably. And I knew that when this show was announced. I knew this wasn't going to be a show for me. And I feel like a lot of people are ripping the show apart. I've read the comments, because they're not understanding that it's not Iron Man. It is a different character. It is a different character with a different backstory and a different moral compass and a whole bunch of different things. This isn't for you. If you don't like the show, don't watch it. Plain and simple. So I don't. That's good. Collaborated cosplay, animated Groot was brilliant. Thank you. I honestly, I saw clips of it. It looked pretty good, but yeah, it's not. I know it's not for me. It's a kid's show. But yeah, I don't see anybody that is a keen Marvel viewer loving Ironheart. And like I said at the beginning, that's exactly what I expected. And I'm not surprised by the numbers. I wish it got a little better, but I think with most things when it comes to Marvel, Star Wars, any of these big fandoms, the people who don't like it won't just let it go. They feel like they have to downvote it. They have to spam the comments and all that, which sucks. Like, I wish people wouldn't do that, but that's the world we live in. But yeah, not surprised that these numbers are they are. And again, I'm not going to watch the show because it's not for me. And I know I'm not going to enjoy it. So hopefully if you do enjoy it, I hope you love it. I hope that they do something with this character later on. I know they had her in the Black Panther movie, and I hope they do something with her moving forward. But personally, it's not for me, and that's perfectly fine. Only other thing I want to talk about quickly, if you are looking for anything for your cosplayer people in your life, or if you're looking for gifts or anything, I know we're only in July, but Prime Day is coming up on the 8th. This is where you're probably going to find some of your cheapest gifts. Go check out Amazon Prime. I'm going to be probably picking up a couple new monitors because I got a good monitor here. I got a crummy monitor here. This monitor is an old TV, so the brightness on it is absolute crap, and it actually overshoots the boundaries, which really sucks because I can't fix it. But yeah, so I'm probably going to pick up some new monitors and maybe a couple other things. So just check out Amazon Prime. I think that's kind of it. Everybody in chat, I greatly appreciate it. Nerdy, I love you. Thanks for coming in. Marcy, same for you. Collaborative Cosplay, good to see you. Noah, good to see you too. I know Noah is super busy with all of his cosplay stuff, so I can't wait to see what he's got coming out next. And if you don't have the Freakish Workshop on social media, on Instagram, you should check him out because he's got something coming out that if you want to build something in foam, this might be the way to start doing it. So check out Freakish Workshop on Instagram. Let's jump into the sponsor, folks, and then we're going to jump into the 10 N64 games that are on my list, folks. Sponsor, as always, is my beautiful, loving, amazing, incredible wife. As always, she's always the sponsor, and I'm not doing it just to suck up. She is my sponsor because I would not be here doing this without her. She has made me a better person. She's made me a more compassionate person. Hun, I love you. You will always be my sponsor. Alrighty. Folks, if you're tuning in on TikTok, if you want to join the conversation on YouTube when we talk about the top 10 N64 games, hop over YouTube, Myers Corp Cosplay. You can be a part of the conversation. I'm not going to be paying attention on here. If you guys are talking, you got to come over here because I can't do this the whole video because it'll get annoying. Justin Smith, hopefully Prime Day is actually good this year. They've had some good ones. They've had some bad ones. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I can get a good monitor or two because I need one at least. Those build kits are looking dope. He's got build kits, folks. All right, let's jump into the top 10 N64 games. Folks, if you're tuning in later or you're tuning in when I cut this and make it its own video, if you want to jump in and be a part of the conversation, Monday nights, Monday Night Nerd, LIVE live here on the channel, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to have a lot of fun talking about this, and I hope you can tune into the next top 10. This is my list, folks. This is probably going to match a lot of your lists, but this is my list. If you want to know the best overall, there are many different sites based off sales, based off rankings, and all that. I'm going to give you my list. And why did I choose this? I've done a couple top 10s, but I've not really done a system top 10. Why N64 first? Well, because this was my first system. And yeah, kind of. I had a regular Nintendo when I was little. I had a Super Nintendo, but this was the age when I understood gaming. I went full on, I'm a gamer. This was my first system. This was the one that I cherished. I clearly remember going to Zeller's with my dad, and we were just going there shopping and going to the electronics section and seeing my mom there at the counter checking out with the N64 box. So I knew I was getting this console for Christmas, and I was super excited about it because, funny enough now, I am a giant PlayStation fan. I didn't know what the PlayStation was. I was still too young to know the ins and outs of a system. So when they asked me which system I wanted, I instantly said Nintendo because I had a regular Nintendo and a Super Nintendo. So I just kept this going. However, besides the Wii and the Switch, this was the last Nintendo console I had. The next console round was GameCube, Xbox, PS2. Before I even got a chance to really choose, a friend of mine was selling his PS2 for dirt cheap with a whole bunch of games, and that started my love for the PlayStation brand. So this was the last big bastion of my love for Nintendo. And again, I have a Switch, I have a Wii, but this was the last, I get one console. It was the N64. And also, this is the one that brings me back to the good friends at Blockbuster. Anytime anybody brings up the memories of Blockbuster, going for N64 games is the memory. Bunch of movies I rented, there's a bunch of different things I cared about, but when it was gaming, N64, that's the system I went and looked for. Going there and trying to find, Clay Fighters when it was the exclusive. Going there and trying to get the brand new releases that the one by our place always only had like 5 or 6 copies. So you never were able to get it the opening weekend. You always had to wait one weekend. But I love this console. I still think it's one of the best consoles Nintendo's ever produced. I know people have a problem with controller. I don't give a crap. I love it. Justin Smith in the chat says, this is making me want to pull out my N64 and play it again, but I need to get an HDMI mod for it. Yes, and you can. There are HDMI mods for it. There are special port cables that they've made over the past couple years for it. I've not heard any positive or negative reviews, so I've never wanted to mod my system. I do have my system still. I still have all my games for it, but yeah, I would love to. That is one of the things I like about the Switch, is having that retro console you can get and download play all those retro games. The problem is you'll never get certain ones that are on this list that aren't first party console exclusives. So it's still good, but yeah, you just need a little more. Justin Smith, 63 and a third. That was it. That was the one I was looking for. And Pretty Nerdy Crystal said, I had a PlayStation during this time. My dad even chipped it to play burned games. Woohoo! You had the special one. Nice. All right, folks, let's jump in and let's start off with one that is going to probably shock people until I explain why. Folks, we're going to start with number 10, Resident Evil 2. Now, you're probably all going, oh my god, I hate this list. Why the hell is Resident Evil 2 your number 10? Resident Evil 2 is my number 10 because I'm a big Resident Evil fan, and this was my first introduction to Resident Evil. I know the PlayStation 1 was better. Stop writing in the comments before you, just stop it now. I know the PlayStation was better. I did not have a PlayStation. I had to get the N64 cartridge. This was my first introduction into the survival horror genre. I did not have any care to get into any scary games back in the day. This was my first introduction to it, and I have loved this game ever since. I have played this game countless times. I have the remake. I love the remake. I don't know which one I like better. I like the changes they made on the new version, but the original is such a friggin' great game. This little guy here, Mr. Leon Kennedy, might have a cosplay coming up in the next couple years on this one. Maybe. Trying. We'll see. But yeah, this is a game that just changed my input on how I love horror games, and I love these survival horror games, and just this was a game that I remember renting this from Blockbuster, and it was only a 3-day rental, and this was probably one of the first times when I rented something for 3 days, and it was one of those I'm not wanting to bring it back. This was not I'm going to bring it, I'll bring it back. It's so big. No, this was I'm not bringing it back. I'm going to keep playing it. Whatever I have to do to pay the late fees, I don't give a crap. I'm keeping this game until I finish it. And I absolutely loved it. I loved it. Even just the third party camera, in the corner, kind of like the security footage look that the old school Resident Evil games had. I love it. I think it's a great look. It's a bit wonky now, I'll completely admit. It's not the best controls. I like the newer ones, the newer Resident Evil, the remakes, where it's over the shoulder. It's a lot easier to control, but this is still classic. It's still fun, and this is my number 10 with Resident Evil 2. Let's jump into number 9 now. This is one that I think a lot of people would have a little higher up on their list, but there are games that this might be one of those games that is just overplayed, and that's why it's so low on this list. There are games that are a lot higher on this list, and I love them a lot more. I understand why this should be higher on other people's list, but every single person wanted to play this, and I kind of got tired of it. That's why it's lower down. Mario Kart 64. Great game, but oh my god, am I tired of it. Every single person that ever came to my house wanted to play Mario Kart. Doesn't matter if they had it at home, doesn't matter if they've never played it, doesn't matter if they played it a billion times. Everybody wanted to play this bloody game, and I just got so tired of it. It is a great game, though. It is one of the weird games, and this is something that I would love the newer generation to understand. how impactful this console was. And we're going to talk about this same topic over and over and over and over and over again. This game had the exact same characters as the original. It had no new characters from the original Super NES Mario Kart to N64. If you did that today, you would have so many fans freaking out. We were too impressed of going from a 16-bit era to a 64-bit era that we didn't give a crap how many characters there were. It was just incredible seeing this stuff in 3D. So you've got the same characters, but it's still a better game. I will fully admit it is a better game. Although Justin Smith just said it, and I agree. I personally like the Super NES better. I have more memories of that than this. Again, I agree this is a better game overall, but I personally have better memories of the original than this one. I mean, everyone wanted to play Rainbow Road. Everyone knows Rainbow Road because of this game, even though there is a Rainbow Road in the original that most people don't realize. But this does have many memories, and as much as I do complain that we did play it continuously, it is still got some good memories in my heart. I do have great memories of sitting around a console with 4 controllers, playing with friends, doing the battle royales and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun, but yeah, I personally prefer the other one, and even I would say the Wii better than this one. But again, might just be because I played it a billion times. Collaborated cosplay. You're lucky I can't shut your internet off right now. Hey, you got a list? What's your list? Comment in the chat. Tell me what yours is. I want to see how close I am to some of your lists. I put in my Instagram stories what your favorite game was, and I don't remember many people commenting. So tell me, what do you think? I want to know, because I want to see if I don't think I'm that off when it comes to my favorites compared to yours, but I do know that there are some that are going to be different. Alex is saying Zelda all the way. We'll get into Zelda. Give me time. So we got number 10, Resident Evil 2. Number 9, Mario Kart 64. Number 8, I don't care what anyone says, Yoshi's story is incredible. Yoshi's story is incredible. I love this game. This is a game that took a companion, because that's what Yoshi was at the time, and gave him his own game. There's not a Kazooie game. There's not a Ramy the Rhino game from Donkey Kong. Yoshi went from sidekick to main character because of this game. And I love it. And this game set the standards for what the rest of Yoshi's career in gaming is going to be. Now, I know what some people are going to say. Before this, for the Super Nintendo, there was Yoshi's Island. I don't count that as a mainline Yoshi game because you still had annoying baby Mario in that game. So Mario still played a factor in that game. This is all Yoshi. It's my list. I make the rules up. Honestly, I think this is a really adorable game. I think this is a lot of fun. It's a lot of cuteness. I love the art style. I think over the past couple decades, they've grown with this. They've done the fuzzy world. They've done the cardboard world in the past. And they've all worked very well. Of just having in the background one two from the N64, and I don't think he gets a lot of credit. I think a lot of people think it's too kiddie. I got no problem with kiddie games. I think this is a fun one, and I think you all, if you've never played it, I think you should give it a shot if you can find it. Actually, it's on the Switch. It's on the Switch. Go get your Switch out and try it. Justin Smith, WWF No Mercy all the way. We'll see. We'll see. Is it going to be a WCW game instead? I will tell you this, Justin. There's one wrestling game on here. There's one. And if you're an N64 fan, you know there's 4 titles it could be. Could be WCW, NWO versus, or WCW versus the World, Revenge, No Mercy, or WrestleMania 2000. We'll see which one it is. We'll see. Number 7. Alex, you brought up a franchise, and we're going to talk about it now. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Now, again, before everyone gets in the comments of why is this title so far down the list, I have never played any other Zelda game really than this. I have played A Link to the Past a bit. Other than that, I've never played another Zelda game. The Zelda franchise was never for me. And I don't want anybody to come at me and to get mad at me because I'm married to somebody who has the Triforce tattooed on them. My wife is a die-hard Zelda fan, and I love that she loves that franchise. It's just not for me. I can only assume you've never played. I have played Ocarina up until the water level, the water temple, and then I gave up. It's just not a franchise that I really, really hardcore loved. However, I do appreciate this game. This was one of the only Zelda games, and I've picked up a couple of them. Like I said, I started Link to the Past. I never really got into it. I picked up Twilight Princess. I never really got into it. This was one of the very few Zelda games, actually the only Zelda game, that I felt like was a pick up and play. I felt like I didn't need to know a bunch of backstory. There wasn't a ton of exposition that I really need to pay attention to. I got the gist of it pretty easily. I also think this was one of the first games that was open world. And there were other games that we're going to talk about that came later that more or less became open world and sort of became the pioneers and the masters of it. But this was one of the few games that I remember walking out into this area and being like, this is the biggest open world I've ever been in. And I feel like if I walk 5 feet, there should be a loading screen. And there isn't. It just keeps going and going and going. I know today we have Red Dead Redemption and stuff, which you can literally walk for hours and never get to the end. But this one felt the biggest and the most open world. And I appreciate it. I love this game. It's of a series that I've never been a giant fan of. I love Zelda. I love Link. I love the story in this one where he's a kid and then he grows into an adult with the ocarina. The music is absolutely phenomenal. Again, I get it. It's just not incredibly high on my list because the difficulty spike of that water temple just buries the game for me. And it's not for me. It never has been, and I've tried over and over again. Pretty Nerdy Crystal, oh my god, Link to the Past was my absolute favorite game. You and everyone else, it seems like. This is the funny part. I was a kid in school, grade school, when the Super Nintendo was out. I knew nobody who played that game. But now, everybody admits that they played it. I don't know if I was just in the dark or what, but everybody loved that game. I didn't know a single person in grade school who had that game or loved that game. Maybe I just didn't ask the right questions. Justin says, I was never a Zelda person either. Yeah, it's just never been a franchise for me. Again, I understand the lore. I understand all the love for it. I get it. It's just not for me. So we've gone from Resident Evil, we've gone to Mario Kart, we've gone to Yoshi's Story, we've gone to Ocarina of Time. Justin, we have reached the point of the list where we talk to you and possibly you alone. Let's talk about wrestling games. You said in chat, WWF No Mercy all the way. And then you said WCW Revenge was also great. The wrestling game that is on my list is neither of those. WrestleMania 2000 is on my list. Now, you are probably asking yourself, if you're a wrestling fan and have ever picked up and No Mercy, you're probably saying, why did you not put No Mercy on there? And I will tell you a very good reason. No Mercy is a better game. No Mercy has better graphics. No Mercy has a better story. No Mercy has better customization. No Mercy is WrestleMania 2000 times 5. So why did I not put No Mercy on here? Why did I put WrestleMania 2000? Because my cartridge is a day one cartridge. And if you don't know, the day one cartridges of WWF No Mercy have a flaw. It's a memory flaw, which means after playing for a certain time, the cartridge resets itself. So, I have never been able to get past a certain part in that game because when it's supposed to autosave and when I shut the console off, as soon as I start it back up, it's a fresh cartridge. So, I've never been able to get far in that game, and that was frustrating as hell. So, because of that, and because I never got to get far in it, it's not on the list. WrestleMania 2000 is on the list because I was able to actually beat the game and have fun in it and not know when I turned the damn game off, I'd have to start from the scratch. Justin, I'm just glad you didn't say Warzone or Attitude. You know what? I have both of those. I did have Warzone, and you know what? I should have. You just gave me a realization. I should have brought it down. So Warzone was my first wrestling game. I had. Let me take that back. I'd had wrestling games secondhand. Warzone was the first one that I went, Mom, I want this game. Please get it for me. I love you. I'll do anything for it. My mom paid. In 1998, I want to remind you, 1998 was 27 years ago, $99.99 for that game. For Warzone. WWF Warzone taught me a very valuable lesson. Don't pick up a game day one until you guaranteed it's a good game. I played Warzone for maybe 20 minutes and hated it. And it was so hard not to go to my mom and be like, this is a terrible game. I wish we didn't spend money on this. I played that game so much just to make it look like, yeah, it was a great investment. Thanks, Mom. I'm really thankful that you got me this game. Yeah, no. That was a big mistake on my part. WrestleMania 2000 is my favorite. It's probably the one I've played the most. I do love WCW Revenge. But yeah, the characters and stuff look absolutely amazing. And I think this is, again, going to a conversation we talked about before. This is the evolution of gaming that was the mind explosion that we went through as kids. If you're a wrestling fan, and I'll actually pull down one of my wrestling figures, Mr. Bret Hart, as an example. If you were a kid in my day and age and you were playing with your wrestlers, the wrestling toys back in the day, their arms moved up and down, their legs moved up and down, and their head turned. That was basically what the SNES version of video games were. Characters could do this, characters could do this, characters could do this. This is what WCW Revenge, WWF WrestleMania, and No Mercy felt like, where everything moved on the characters. That animation looks almost picture perfect when it comes to how smoothly that stunner is animated. Justin Smith, Bone Crunchers, exactly. That was impossible to a kid back in the day. After playing, WrestleMania, the arcade game where everything was digitized like Mortal Kombat, and all these wrestling games had motion like this, to have something like this game where the movement and the fluidity of everything was just smooth as silk, it blew our minds back in the day. So this has got to be number one. And again, I will totally admit, Revenge, WCW walked so this game and No Mercy can run. It all was because of Aki and THQ and making an incredible WCW Revenge that WWF brought them over, and they absolutely exploded with this game. And there's still people playing modded versions of this and No Mercy today because it's such a good franchise and such a good game. But again, No Mercy can't go on here because of that stupid cartridge glitch. So we've now reached the midpoint of our journey. We talked about open world, and this next game is a game that I think everybody would say is the open world king. It is a game that I love. I have never completed because it's so expansive. And I think there were games that took this genre and went maybe too far with it. But I think this is the perfect amount of open world exploration, collectibles, and a new franchise that I wish had more, but unfortunately we only got 2 of them, and that is Banjo-Kazooie. This is something you're going to hear a couple times in this show. This is Rare doing it again. Rare taking a franchise and breathing a new ton of life into it and making it, I was waiting for that. I was waiting. Hi, Edith. Good to see you. I knew you'd be happy about this one. Banjo is she's a giant fan, by the way. Banjo-Kazooie is just a franchise and a game that is... It is the open world master on the N64. There is a game that obviously we will talk about later on that I think a lot of people think is more open world than it really is. It's not really as open world as you think. This game is just a masterpiece on open world exploration, collectibles like crazy, and also doing all that with a new franchise and a new character. If they took, and again, as I kind of mentioned earlier, there is a game that came later than this that sort of took this blueprint and went too far with it, Donkey Kong 64. They could have done that early. They could have taken a franchise that already had life, a Donkey Kong, a Star Fox even, and they could have done something like this with it. But to do it so well and do it on a franchise that honestly, this could have flopped. Like, you could have put all this time into a new main character, a new side character in Kazooie, and it just no one really dug it, and that would be a big waste. The way that they were able to make this all work with a new character and a new platform, knocked it out of the park for Rare. They did a great job on this one. And as I said, this was a game that went nuts when it came to collectibles. I think there's 6 different things you got to collect throughout this game. And as I said, DK took it to the next level where each of the Kongs had 6 things and they all had like 100 things each. Like, it was insane in DK. But I think this is the nice mashup of just enough collectible that makes it fun to go around and collect stuff, but not, Riddler Trophy, Arkham City, Arkham Knight, where you're just, oh my God, I'm tired of collecting these things. It was great. And again, this was not an open, we'll talk about it now. I think a lot of people would say Mario 64 is the open world champ. Like, that was the one. That was the one that went, this is open world. I would say that's not an open world game. It's still a very mission-based game. It is you have to jump into each of the paintings and go into missions. This is a completely open world that you have to walk through. So I know there's some people who probably think that Mario is number one, that first game to really push it. I think that was the training wheels for the open world genre, and I feel like Banjo was the first one to go, let's just go all out on this, and they knocked it out of the park. Again, Rare does it again. And to continue the love for Rare, if you were a kid, Banjo-Kazooie was your game. If you wanted to push the envelope, though, Rare, a little bit later in the console's life cycle, blew it out of the park again with Conker's Bad Fur Day. Now, we have to talk about this game because this is one of my favorite games. I love this game. This franchise, I have so many memories of. This is the game that when you were a kid, you had to play it when parents weren't around. You kept that volume low because different words were going to be said and bleeps were going to happen. And certain things were coming, they would walk by the right time or the wrong time when you were playing a certain mission and stuff happened. Yeah, this was the game you were going to get in trouble for. But it was 18 plus on the box, so if you were under the age of 18, you should not have been playing it. Yeah, right. This was so fun. This took the open world genre and just said, let's have fun with it. Let's parody a whole bunch of stuff. Let's just do everything we've ever wanted. And if you don't know the life cycle of Conker started out as a very kid-friendly game. Conker's Fuzzy Tales or something like that, where it was literally just a squirrel going around having fun. However, something happened and Rare went, let's just push it all the way to 18 plus. The first, I believe, 18 plus game on the N64. The only, I believe, 18 plus game for the N64. Again, this was pushing the envelope on many different things. Taste might be part of it. Adult humor, the parodies, doing parodies of The Matrix in this, the parodies of Aliens, just the concept of him getting drunk and being a drunk squirrel, and whacking stuff with a frying pan. Like, it was so goofy and fun. But then you have fun. You have even more hilarious things in the game where, as Justin points out, the Great Mighty Pooh, which the song in that game, if you've ever played that level, that song somehow, whether you were 16, 15, 18, 37, it will ingrain into your head that you will be humming it decades later like I am. In fact, if anybody ever asks me, what is the dream cosplay? The Great Mighty Pooh is one of my dream cosplays. I would love to figure out a way to make that cosplay and have the circle and have a small plush Conker here. And yeah, I would love to recreate that level in a cosplay. But that is a big undertaking, and a whole lot of stuff. And this is the prime example that I always bring up when I talk about big cosplays. I love the idea of the cosplay. I do not like the idea of what the hell I'm going to do with it after I use it, because I really don't want a big giant poo costume in my house, in my garage, anywhere near me. It'll be hilarious, and then I'm going to want to burn it after and never see it again. But yeah, this game, I love this game. This was one of the few games when I got out of high school. An old friend of mine, we would hop on our bikes and we would go before thrifting and flipping and stuff was really big. He was flipping like crazy. He would flip video games, and I would go with him, and we went to a pawn shop in the area, and this was one of the first games that I was like, I need to get a copy of this. And this is one of the few games that I own with box, with book, with everything. It is not the greatest box. It does have some dings, but this is one of the few games that I own a complete copy of. That one, Cruisin' USA, and Resident Evil 2 are the three that I have incomplete. But yeah, this was one I was like, yep, I need to own it. And I did, and I've played it a bunch since, and I absolutely love it. I would love to try the remaster that Xbox came out with, but I've heard it's got some issues. It's not as good, but anyway. So we have now hit our top 3. And I think based on a lot of people's lists, you can kind of see where my top 3 are going to go. It may not be the right order that you think, but I think we can all kind of figure what these 3 are going to be. Number 3 is my first introduction to the system. This was a game that I clearly and vividly, like it happened yesterday. I was playing baseball for a local, just softball, baseball team. And we went to the son was on the team, the dad was coaching, and he wanted to have like all of us over for a pool party after, I think the season was over. And I remember going to the pool party, having a lot of fun, and then after a while, the kids on the team were no longer like by the pool. They'd all went inside. And I remember kind of being like, where are they all inside? Like, oh, they're da-da-da-da-da. And I had no idea what they said. But I went inside and went up to the kids' room. And when I say every single kid was in that room watching him play this game, had to have been 20 kids. And I was number 21, and my head was blown seeing this game, Star Fox 64. This blew my mind when I was a kid. Seeing a flying game that was that motion accurate, that real looking, I know it's polygons and stuff, but real looking, and that rumble pack. That rumble pack changed the damn game. And I don't mean that game. I mean the game. I don't know if anyone else at the time was thinking of doing a rumble pack or a rumble controller, but we still got it today. And it's nuts to think that that's where the first introduction of it started. This is a game that I think out of any game on the console, I've played this more than anything else. I am not a speed runner. There are 2 games that I have ever tried and succeeded in speed running. I don't want to say succeeded because I know there's people who actually have records for these things, but these are the 2 games that I've actually speed run. Resident Evil Dead Aim, Star Fox 64. Those are the 2 games that I've ever played that I was like, okay, I want to time myself and see how long I can do this. And they were both at my cottage, or my grandfather's cottage, when we were kids. I remember going there, waking up bright and early, like the sun hadn't come up. And I remember slowly sneaking downstairs, because I had brought my N64 to the cottage, plugging it in, turning the volume as low as I could, but just enough that I could hear, and going, all right, I have to beat this game before everyone else wakes up. And I did. And I was so happy that I did. It was a dumb little thing that I enjoyed. It is a quotable game. It is a memorable game. It is one of the easiest games to pick up and play, I feel like. You know, the concept of this game is one of the few times where I don't think I ever knew a game that had a branching path before. Like this, I think, was the first time where I was like, okay, I need to play a game a certain way to get to a certain level to make it easier for me. I knew if I did the underwater level, I was screwed. If I knew I got to the molten lava level, I was screwed. I knew I had to get the secret ending on the train so I didn't have to go another route. This game made so many impressions on me, even to the point of hating this little frog because he will not shut the hell up. Like, there are not many characters in the world of Nintendo that have never received a, he's back. He's not that bad anymore. I don't know anybody who's ever forgiven this frog for not shutting up. He does not keep quiet. Every bloody mission, he needs help. And at certain points, we all wanted this thing to die. We didn't care. We didn't care that he was able to give us the health bar. We wanted him to shut up and die. Alex in chat, Nintendo's always innovating way people play, who can have the best graphics. Wii was the best example. 100%. That is one thing that I know a lot of people, I hope they get a Switch too. I really do. That is one thing I would give Nintendo a lot of credit for. They are the one console company that does not mind putting its nuts on the line and going, we're going to try something really crazy and dumb that you all are either going to love or you're going to hate. And that's why I was at Toys R Us when the Wii U came out. And I remember hearing so many people crap on that system. Oh my God, it's like a tablet, but why does it do this? Why is it just... Guys, they made a rumble pack. It was incredible. They made small discs. It was incredible. They made motion controls. It was incredible. They now have the Switch. It's incredible. Like doing those, taking the controllers off. That was incredible. They made one console that didn't work. That's pretty damn good for that much innovation. You knew they had to slip up once, and the Virtual Boy, I'll give them that one too. Once or twice, but overall they got a pretty good track record of doing well. This was such a great game, and I can't say enough good things about it. I might actually go down and plug in the 64 and see if I can beat my old times. Edith, look at all the add-on accessories you can get with the Game Boy Color. Oh yeah, I've seen people do the ultimate Game Boy Colors and have like the screen and the light and the battery pack and all these extra things. Like, it's nuts. It's nuts that they can do that. We are down to 2. We are down to the top 2, and now I think we kind of have, everybody has their 2 that are going to be 1 and 2. And it's just which one's going to be 1 and which one's going to be 2. This game created a genre, created gaming as we know it now. Do I think we would get here if this game didn't exist? 100%. But I think because of the popularity of this game, because of the impact this game has, for how well they did on their first shot with this genre, I think this changed the industry, and I don't think anyone else can say otherwise. It's GoldenEye. GoldenEye is my number 2, and this created the first-person shooters. This created the first-person shooter genres. This is the OG. I don't know anybody who has ever picked up an N64 controller who has not sat down and played this in multiplayer. This is another genre of, you made a first-person shooter. You also made a couch co-op that everybody played. I clearly remember going over to a friend of mine's house at the time and spending hours on this game. This blew it out of the water. Alex, on the console, Wolfenstein 1. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll give you Wolfenstein. But, yeah, all right, fair point. Brought it to the masses. PC's different. PC's that other world that I don't talk about. Edith said we'll purposely pause this for the music. Yeah. This is an incredible soundtrack. And I think this also, this is a game that I think was perfectly timed with how good the GoldenEye movie is. And by the way, GoldenEye is my favorite James Bond movie, no matter what. I especially love Pierce Brosnan's my Bond. The movie came at the perfect time to reboot the franchise of James Bond. This game knocked it out of the park with the selection of weapons, the sounds, the music, the visuals, even just this photo alone. It's incredible. I know people look at it now compared to newer games and are like, it's nothing to laugh about. Man, this photo just sums up. None of this really existed before this game. Like, people flying through the air after being exploded didn't exist before. Having different weapons like this, having this many different weapons like this, didn't happen before. This is also a game that, by the way, had almost no heads-up display, which is crazy to think about because nowadays you've always got something in your face when it comes to a heads-up display. It's always got to be either a health bar or it's got to be how much ammo you got or something like that. This little thing comes up, these circles on either side, only when you get hit. Other than that, you never see it. And I think that made the game even better because it put you in the world and it honestly made you feel like Bond, which is exactly what this game should have done, and they knocked it out of the park. Again, Rare knocks it out of the park again. And by the way, if it wasn't for the cheats, I mean, can you not play Bond without cheats? Like, is GoldenEye without the cheats? Like, I think if this didn't have cheats, you'd play it once, and it'd be great. I think you play multiplayer, and it'd be great. You would probably not play single player as much if you didn't have DK mode, if you didn't have paint splatter mode and all those different things, which just made things 1,000 times more fun. Justice Smith, enemies reacting where you shot them to. Yeah, like not full motion, but like motion getting hit and falling over in different ways, not just boom like most games. Overall, an incredible game. Deserves the top spot. Is my number 2. Let's quickly go through 10 to 2, and then we will obviously hit the number 1, which I think you guys can already guess what number 1 is. Number 10, Resident Evil 2. Number 9, Mario Kart. 8, Yoshi's Story. 7, Ocarina of Time. 6, WrestleMania 2000. 5, Banjo-Kazooie. 4, Conker's Bad Fur Day. 3, Star Fox 64. 2, GoldenEye. And folks, I think we can all agree that if any game was number 1 that wasn't GoldenEye, it had to be this. Monster Truck Madness. No, I'm kidding. It's not Monster Truck Madness. It's Super Mario. Of course it's Super Mario. It is the game that... It's honestly... What can you say about this game that hasn't been said 1,000 times by 1,000 different gamers in 1,000 different ways? This is the OG platformer. This is the one that took a franchise from one thing to another. And what I mean by that, and I don't think this generation I don't think this generation truly understands what it was like to go from the Super NES and Mario World, Yoshi's Island, etc., to Super Mario 64. The closest analogy I can give is seeing your favorite Marvel DC character on the big screen for the first time. It is taking something that was 2D, that you only saw on a flat plane, and now it's a 3D completely. You can see every bit of it, and then you can see the entire world. That was unbelievable for a kid of my age back in the day. It's almost like drawing into 3D printing. Like loving a character and you draw it. Okay, now you're going to do it in 3D. Like, what do you mean? What does Mario's back look like? What does what does his ears look like? Like, it's something no one really thought of until they got this game. And it's funny to think that there are many games that have come out over the past console generations, and you can always tell which things are a tech demo. Whether it's what was the PlayStation 2 was the fireworks one, was kind of like their tech demo of like, it's not really much of a game, but we could just show all these crazy things that are happening. PlayStation, famously, Astrobot is their tech demo pretty much every year because they could do so much with that game. The opening of this game and playing with Mario's face is the coolest tech demo that most kids and parents and never realized was a tech demo. It is so cool and it fits so well into the game that you're just like, it works. It is completely a tech demo. And I don't think many people even realize that that's what it was built as. But it's like, let's see. Let's show what the capabilities are of this system. You can grab Mario's nose and pull his eyelids and pull his hair and his hat. And yeah, it's left so many memories on a generation that, even like, let's not even get into all the soundtrack. Like, Dire Docks is pretty much the song of a generation, in my opinion. Like, I think even people on TikTok, that is a background sound for nostalgia videos. It is. I honestly think that Mario is probably the last game that we pretty much all knew the soundtrack to. Like, you could pretty much put on any song from this game, and probably most people can tell you what level it's from, or a general idea, or know that it's from Mario 64. There's not many games after this that are able to do that. Because after this, it kind of gets... The progression of the games get crazier and crazier. Not everybody gets every game, and then we get the console splits of Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo. This was sort of the last game that I think everybody knew and everybody loved. GoldenEye, yeah, I'll give you that, but like, from kids to adults, this was the last one, I think. And I Justin and that annoying crying penguin. Yes, we have to throw off the edge. Justin Smith also said Wave Race 64 would be on my list because it's the only game that my dad got my dad to actually play video games. Yeah, I have those games too. They're not N64 games, but yeah, I've got those too. Yeah, just the memories of this game, and I think that's something that I really hope that this generation, the last generation, I hope kids have that memory for them later when they get to my age. Like, this game is so nostalgic and brings me back to such a good time in my life. Not that everything's terrible now, but it really grabs the nostalgia strings. Like, I've put on that there is somebody who's posted on YouTube like an 8-hour loop of Dire Docks, and I have just let it go in the background and just had like memory lane gone down it for hours, and I love it. So I hope the next generation and this generation have games like this that have such a hit to them that they can find others and be like, hey, remember when we used to play Fortnite? Remember when we used to play Minecraft and stuff like that? I bet they do, but it just feels like this was the last time almost everybody had the game, and you could go to school and you could pretty much throw a rock and everybody knew what the game was. You couldn't find anybody who didn't. So yeah, Super Mario 64 is my number one. As we go through them again quickly: Resident Evil 2, Mario Kart 64, Yoshi's Story, Ocarina of Time, WrestleMania 2000, Banjo-Kazooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Star Fox 64, GoldenEye, and of course, Super Mario 64. Folks, I greatly appreciate you tuning in. If you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, it would mean the absolute best to me. And for you on TikTok, I hope you enjoyed it. You should hop over to YouTube and you can join the chat for the next episode. Next week, what are we talking about next week? I got a couple ideas. I might do a cosplay episode. We might also do a movie episode. We might do a music episode. We're going to look into it. I'm going to do some research, and maybe we'll jump into something a little crazy next week. Hope you guys have a great day tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoy your day off if you are in Canada. Happy Canada Day. Take some time to yourself. Relax. Enjoy the day off. It's supposed to be pretty good weather. And I will hopefully be on streaming live on TikTok or on Instagram over the next couple days, because we're going to be doing some more work on Bonehead over there. So have yourselves a great night. Thank you all for tuning in. I love you all, and I will see you very, very soon. Take care, folks. Hey, thanks for watching Monday Night Nerd. If you enjoyed this content, please hit the subscribe button, like this content, and follow on social media for even more nerdy fun. See you soon.